In the 90s, Playmates toys made the deepest line of Star Trek action figures in history. My name's Keith, and I'm a collector working towards owning all 284. I've been a Trek fan for almost 35 years, and most people are sick of me talking about it. But somehow I've convinced my old friend Mike to review them with me on Look at My Star Trek Toys! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys. Boy, I'm excited today. You want to know why, Mike?
Keith, tell me why.
Well, we have been diligently working our way through all of the Playmates 2022 line of Star Trek action figures, the ship, the phaser, all of it. We have worked our way through every single one, and you can check out all of our reviews in the past. If you haven't seen them already, you can also purchase those figures using the link below from the Evil Empire. It does help us. We're not evil.
It does.
But today, we are actually able to show you what I can't believe already exists. And that is custom figures using the new 2022 line. Already, they're out there. We just got through reviewing them, and I'm already flooded with people who have adapted them and improved them already, Mike. Are you excited?
I'm excited. You know, there's an old saying, Keith, if you want something done right, do it your GD self. And that is what our illustrious crew of customizers have done. And I have not seen these emails, so I'm really excited to get a first peek here.
And as they say, if you can't do, review. So that's what we're going to do today. So we have the work of two of our good friends and artists you have seen before outdoing themselves. But before they outdo themselves, we need to talk about the people who outdo themselves in support for the show. Mike?
Yes, our dearest friends, Brian Kaufman, Casey Clark, Cloud Lover 69, Jason Moe. Some great comments from Jason recently. Jorge Navoa and the mysterious Anne.
The mysterious Anne.
Worf's Boot Shivs, a.k.a. Charles Nivens. You know, he gave us a couple of pseudonyms. We should maybe swap that out one of these times. This is Alan Zimmerman. Mike just gives Keith work to do. CRM Productions, Charles Babbage at Grim Toys, and our newest patron, Delusions at Noon. Thanks for joining the team. You can join the team at patreon.com/K&M. Watch me watch Deep Space Nine, get AMAs, get unboxing of other toys, get us watching the animated series, all kinds of fun goodies like grandma sending you cookies in the mail. They're not all going to be winners, but enough of them will have enough sugar that you'll enjoy it just enough to justify a couple of bucks.
I don't know what that meant, but I'm nauseous now. That analogy made me nauseous.
See, the problem, Keith, with filming a bunch of these on one day is that if you don't have it that day, like I've proven, you don't get it the next episode.
You continue to not have it for weeks, because this will be weeks long.
Go Phils. Oh, by now they probably lost the World Series, so I'm probably depressed about it, yeah.
I don't know, but there's hope. There's always hope. All right. Well, I think let's just, with no further ado, get into this. And the first couple of figures I'm going to show you are not actually new custom figures. They're upgrades of the 2022 line from our good friend, George Alexandris. So what we have here above me is the Playmates 22, and to my, whatever that is, to my right, as you're seeing it, are his repaints of the three figures we have here, which are really, really cool because these figures had a more of a matte feel than the Playmates line, but when George puts his paint on it, it really does get that full matte feel. And you can notice a couple of other things. He fixed Data's collar. He doesn't have that weird metallic gold sheen, and he got at their feet, above their boots, got the color stripe over their feet. Oh, that's super cool. And it's just really excellent. He didn't change the faces, so this is just a body paint, but he also sanded off the copyright stuff on the back of it. And let me show you how he did it. he actually, and I'm so grateful, George, thank you for sending me this, because we get to see the entire figure exploded so we can see how this figure is built separate from the original line, and it's way more complex and way more interesting. So we see here that he's sanded off the copyright before he does the repaint. It's beautiful, but you can see the torso there, and it's a ball joint for the legs. We saw that when I broke Khan, and for the head as well. And there it is. There's the back. Copyright deleted. Looks great. And this is the figures all exploded. This is so cool. Thank you for sending me this. So folks, if you ever wondered, how are these things put together? How are these joints achieved? It's really interesting, because the ball joint for the hips are sort of obvious, but these new kind of joints that they have for the ankles, knees, and elbows, it's sort of like there's a bit of a ball, but there's a bit of the, I don't know, whatever you call those things that stick up, which allow you to turn it and have a little bit of motion without being full ball joints. How cool is that, Mike?
That's super cool. And whenever you think you're having a crappy day, just remember it's somebody's job to sit there for 8 hours and pop those things in on an assembly line and just do it repeatedly for hours.
It probably is a person. Yeah. That would be really, gets really specific for automation, but I don't know for sure. But I was delighted to see this, and this explains all of the articulation for the figure and how wildly different an exploded 2022 figure is from
an exploded 2022 next gen figure, because there's some subtle differences. Well, I guess they explode the same way. Like the uniform, the material for the torso is different on the Khan figures versus the next gen figures, because there's that like material-esque feel, that rubberized feel. So I'd like to see, I'm sure we get to that.
Well, it has I think it just sticks down over. I think the basic joints work like that, but they have some overlap. But I don't know. We'll see.
Picard just fell down off my shelf. I'll fix him later.
Oh no, Picard. Well, he saw himself,
exploded.
Sometimes when we see ourselves as our true selves, it's pretty upsetting. And we see what's inside. When I talk to my therapist and I see what's inside me, I feel the same way. So
you need a nap.
Next
cool.
is the upgraded Kirk. And some of these differences are very, very subtle. Actually pull up his email and let him speak to the differences here.
Is that the same head?
It is the same head.
Looks like he's got a smirk.
Well, Kirk's always got the Kirk smirk. But let me see if you can spot the one obvious detail right there while I'm pulling up the email.
Aside from his papoose?
Papoose. No. Well, here's what he said he did. He said, I sanded the legal from the back and modded the black gold piping on the front to end by his chin, as opposed to, it doesn't actually go up to the end there. The actual Kirk, it ends right here on the collar. So he sanded it off and fixed that. Did a full repaint other than the head. And this is what I think is really fun. We're going to get into this. I think it's fascinating. What's he holding there in George's figure?
Is that the Adventures of Alice in Wonderland?
of
Abby?
Abby in Wonderland? No, it's actually A Tale of Two Cities. But Spock gives Kirk an old edition of Tale of Two Cities in Wrath of Khan. So, and you can see it right there. And so George made a tiny little book for him from this scene, which is astounding. And we have, you can also see the back here, that there it is without the copyright stuff sanded off there, and the repaint. But here's the cool part. I found the original book that this painting is on. And he miniaturized that painting. Do you have any idea how small he had to paint that recognizable scene on that book?
Yeah, that's small. But you can see by the detail brush next to it, actually, just how fine that is.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we now have his fingerprints
But also just like pop back a slide for a second.
Yeah.
That's just a great illustration of, well, there's no juxtaposition here, but I definitely think that the Playmates 2022 line has used better paint, but this is the difference between better paint and best paint, right?
Yeah. Well, here you can see it here. Yeah. I mean that it's the Playmates line was such an improvement on the paint, but you can see if you're going to go and do it by hand and do that level of work. I mean, goodness gracious. I think that's extraordinary. Painting that book, unbelievable.
What's that? Oh, Keith, could you reply George an email and send him my address? I got word that he wants to send me one.
Oh yeah, I got word from George. No.
Oh, just Keith,
he
Keith
emailed right
gets
back.
Packages in the mail. You guys send him stuff. I send him stuff.
No, but here's the thing.
Here I am, just in front of a green screen, floating
George
floating head with nothing.
Floating head. George does not sell his work. This is entirely for his own collection.
Yeah, well, he can choose to send one of his collections to me.
George, no. Come
on, somebody.
Don't encourage him.
Somebody.
So the next one here is also from George. He has recreated Tapestry Picard. Now, this is not a figure that we have done on the regular show. This is the famed 1701 Picard. Which basically killed the original line because they only put out 1,701 of these figures. But this is from a flashback in the episode Tapestry, where he's wearing the Kirk era uniforms.
An LP vinyl of Carole King under his arm.
That would have been great. It didn't flash back that far. But this is a recreation of the Tapestry Picard using the new figure, which looks fantastic.
So cool. Yeah.
Now, of course, in order to accomplish this, it's not just a simple head swap because you have to get Picard's rank. He was only an ensign at that point. So he had to adapt. Let me see if he said exactly what he did for this one. But hold on. Emails while I'm recording get very difficult. Tapestry Picard, he's done some slight modifications. He started with cutting off the turtleneck collar, which obviously he doesn't have. So if you go back and look at Kirk, right? Mm-hmm. He's got the turtleneck collar, but Picard does not. So he actually had to cut it off. He corrected the black piping so it stops near the chin, which we've talked about on the other one. Also painted the belt buckle on his back red, sanded and sculpted the correct badges on the white strap and left forearm, and then did a full repaint. And so that is how you get a screen accurate Picard. Now we see here is his original line Tapestry Picard upgrade, right? It's the improved on the original one where he repainted it like he does his other figures next to the 2022 line. And there you can really get a sense of the difference in the scale and the proportions there, because Picard's no longer a little chubby. If you made a figure of me, he'd have to have the chubbiness. But this is like 20s Picard. He's in shape. Yeah, I was in shape in my 20s. But
he's got 2022 eyebrows because that type of thick eyebrow is in now.
It's very in, which is odd, but that's all right. Anyway, how cool.
Very cool.
How cool does that look? And, a Tapestry Picard, when you see that and you know how valuable that figure is, and, if you're on that eBay listing on Playmates, you're like, oh, it's got a whole box of Playmates. You're like scanning it, trying to figure out what they have in there. Always keep an eye out for it. And you also keep an eye out for a redemption data, another one of these super rare, valuable Playmates figures. But this is the 2022 version of redemption data. I don't have either one of those figures.
Yet.
I just need to do is sell my car, and then I can totally have them. But here is the a 2022 redemption data, which looks fantastic. Obviously did a repaint of the gold there, and it looks flawless.
Not only that, but, and I'm sure this is intentional, the way he's on the stand is how a human being would stand for a headshot or for a portrait photograph. Like, yeah, they're like a subtle bevel with like a hip pop. I mean, that's done well. Unlike
that's described by a man who's done a step and repeat or two.
I'm good arm candy.
I'm sure you have been told to step aside at many a good step and repeat.
I'm sorry, sir. Cast only. But I'm the husband. Cast only, sir.
So you just step back, just step to the side, all the way. Anyway, I think that looks fantastic, and we have it here because George, not to brag, George has a redemption data inbox, a perfect copy. Whew! Envy. Oh, I'm wearing my red shirt with envy.
Or what's the?
He does.
Okay.
The redemption data one, because it's a body rebuild. I think his torso does not have the back panel, but his arm has the panel on the original redemption data. I don't know for sure, but you can see them side to side there, looking fantastic, honestly. Just once again, George does phenomenal work, and you can see how with an upgraded canvas on which to paint, it gets better and better. So really, really cool. So thank you very much, George, for sending those in. There's still more. I had to just pick some favorites.
Okay.
So really, really fantastic work. Really exciting to see what can come of all of this. George does such phenomenal work. Speaking of people who do phenomenal work, did you think we were going to do a 2022 Customs without some of our good friend Chris Micheal at CRM Customs Figures?
Whoa.
And he very, very quickly and very smartly is able to adapt his existing head sculpts, his custom head sculpts, right on to the 2022 figures, because he has a whole line. He's got a line that rivals the original Playmates line of his own custom figures. But this is just illustrating how he can just swap in a new head as opposed to redoing the whole thing. And here's our Sulu from the movie era, just flawlessly integrated in with the two that we did get from this line. You would never in a million years think that wasn't part of the original line. It's so flawless. With of course the repaint to make because you had to paint the colors and make the rank exactly right. Just looks so great. I mean, if you want any of this, you can find CRM Customs on Instagram at CRM_customs. And you can buy some of those fun things. Hold on. No. I went too far. Nobody look. Cover your eyes. There we are. So here is so here is another shot of that Sulu with his 3D printed, hand-painted Sulu head, which looks more like George Takei than any of the figures that they ever put out commercially. But so you can contact him or maybe order one for yourself. Because it's probably going to take them and send it to Mike, because Mike will get salty and complain if you don't.
It's the holiday season.
Mike's birthday is coming up.
I'm all alone. My wife's in New York. I need stuff.
Your only friend is me on the internet. All right. So next up, we have filled in a Geordi. I know.
So cool. I don't have a Geordi.
I know. I picked it for you because I knew Geordi is your jam.
I love Geordi.
So here is.
Oh, that looks so good.
Looks so good, right? And up against it is the original Playmates Geordi.
Wait, those two faces, though, the data and the Picard are different too, right?
The data is a custom. The Picard is the actual Playmates head.
He must have repainted, no?
I don't think so.
He's just better at photography.
He's just better than us with our shaky cam.
We did a whole show last week, and I couldn't get the one figure we were reviewing to focus.
It was like Keith talks about Star Trek. Mike fiddles with his camera.
It was a disaster. I'm so sorry. Thanks for sticking with us.
Anyway, I don't know how many more words I have for CRM Customs work, but what I love about this is integrating it in with the existing line. It's seamless, right? It is both upgraded and seamless at the same time. And you can see from the data, it obviously is a new data head, fix the collar. So on both of these customizers we've talked about today, they have both found ways to fix the weird gold collar on data and improve it.
All right, Chris, here's what I'm going to get. Because it's clear to me that, well, once you're done working on everybody's custom orders that you're going to get.
Which he will never be done.
Yeah. Let me tell you the challenge I bestow upon you.
Oh, great.
I need you to somehow, inside Geordi's head, get a magnet. And then I need you to craft a visor that magnetically snaps onto his face. So when you take the visor off, you see the Geordi eyes, right? The kind of like the clear blue or whatever the sort of his,
right?
And then but you can snap the visor on. I guess you could do it like a clip situation, but I like a magnet idea.
I mean, yes. The problem is, and it's same. He had the same problem doing our figures with the glasses. It's too small. It's brittle.
Well, maybe you could find another customizer out there that can like craft like a visor out of metal.
Oh, wow.
Right,
just like throwing it down. Wow.
Mike can't do anything, so he just makes stuff up and says it on the internet.
Well, yeah, fair. That is 100% true. Yeah. But while you're checking out CRM Customs, check out CRM Comics.
Yeah.
It's also Chris who did our faces, which you see on all of our work. It's probably right there on the little box, the subscribe box.
We paid him handsomely for that.
We did not. God, the talent. So there is Geordi by himself.
It's not just the talent; it's the shared talent. You know what I mean?
Generosity of talent, which it is truly breathtaking. All right, so here is what I teased last week, and that I'm so excited to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the Micheal Burnham figures paint job was not my favorite because it didn't look much like the actress. So, Sonequa Martin Green. So what we have here on the right is just Chris's repaint of the exact same head. It's not a new head. It's the same thing.
Oh, it's just a better. Holy crap.
All it is just painted better. Look at the difference there.
Is shading, right? Shading is like is the miracle. A lot of times you look at models or people on TV and you're like, wow, they look so much better. It's not just makeup. Makeup is or painting makeup is such a broad brush term. It's the technique involved, right? So it's shading, I don't even know all of the terminology, but I know that there are subtle things and techniques that can really just...
Guys, next week, Mike does a makeup tutorial.
This is me whenever I do a production. Question 1, is there a makeup person because I can't do it? And 2, well, actually, that's question 2. Question 1 is always, do we have to do makeup?
That is always question 1. It's always question 1.
And question 3 is usually me finding somebody else to be like, could you just do my makeup for me? How much?
I haven't worn makeup on a professional stage.
No, yeah, I always have to. But
that isn't like a character thing?
I will there either has to be a makeup person, or if there's not hair and makeup, I pay somebody. I literally pay a castmate. And not always with cash. Sometimes it's money or candy or something.
Other services?
All right, Keith, you got to make it dirty. Always making it dirty, Keith.
Keith. I'm the one who always makes it dirty. Anyway. Oh, there's Quark. Anyway, I think it's the eyes.
Yeah, also that.
And the eyebrow placement, eyebrow placement is too high on the original figure, and the actual pupils and irises are too small. Whereas, what Chris has done here, that is a wildly upgraded figure. That's just a question of paint, and it's. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, he did a whole new head. No, it's not a new head. It's just a repainted original head. So, folks, at CRM Customs on the Instagram, go find, and we have a great interview with Chris back in our feed before. So definitely go check that out. So folks, that is the very beginning of our 2020-2022 custom figures. There are plenty more out there, plenty more coming. You can check out all of these on their original feeds. We'll link below so you can check out the rest of their work. We will be featuring more of them as we go forward, but it's really exciting to see all that you're able to do. And as the series continues, once you get the basic model of each uniform, you can do the entire line. You can adapt all of these things. Really, I want more female characters for Series 2. I would love to see some Deep Space Nine Voyager as well, because once you have that, you can then customize to your heart's content all the rest of the line. If you just, especially if you can generate your own perfect heads, like Chris does. So really excited. Now, Mike, does this mean that we're not going to feature any customs from the original line?
No, it doesn't mean that.
Hell no, it does not. I already have queued up 2 episodes, which we don't have time to get to today, but we have a ton more coming, adaptations of the original line. They go on forever. They're all phenomenal. So excited to talk about all of them. So we will be back next week, probably with more customs.
If you're not a patron, just know we're unboxing something. We're looking at other action figures on the Patreon, and if you want to get a part of that, there's only one way to do it.
Yeah, there sure is. You go to patreon.com/K&M, spell out that and join lots of our good friends doing that. So this has been a blast. There's still more to come. It's almost overwhelming, but it is very, very
nowhere
exciting.
else to be, nothing else to do.
That is sadly true. Well, and on that note, we've looked inside ourselves and realized we have nothing else to do, but Mike wants you to send him free stuff. So we will...
Just one thing. I just one toy. Somebody send me something.
For the second time in one episode, I'm nauseous. So I think that's our cue. Till then, this has been...
Look at my Star Trek toy!